All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first public hearing is 112 Nantucket.
We do have announcements on the agenda, but there are no announcements.
There are no announcements.
Yeah.
Any public comment? No? Okay, so we're at 112 Nantucket, number 1, under petitions.
Jose, I'm going to share this. So we've got Jose Vasquez from National Grid on to review this matter, and I am going to show the plan. Jose, you want to go ahead?
Good morning, all. Yes, so National Grid is petitioning to install secondary to bring it to a handhole and provide service to 112 Nantucket Road.
Okay, great. Is there anyone from the public wanting to comment? Seeing none, is there any board questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Should I close the public hearing?
Let me close the hearing first.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of closing? Tom?
Aye.
Brooke? Malcolm?
Brooke, did you say yes?
Yes,
Brooke?
did you not hear me?
No.
Didn't hear you. Yeah, Brooke and Matt votes aye. Okay, do we have a motion?
Move approval?
Second.
All right.
And I'll just
all those-
add pursuant to departmental comments.
Yep, pursuant
thank
to
you.
comments, yes. All right, Brooke? And those in favor, Brooke? Aye, I saw an aye.
Christina.
Tom?
Aye.
Malcolm?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that one's done. Number 2, 22 Brewster Road. I'd like to open the public hearing. Okay,
Before Jose starts, I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw, there was some comments, about from the DPW, the gravel road, the DPW maintains best if the new conduit could be installed outside of the roadway, because there's already sewer, water, and a number of other utilities within the roadway. And placing conduits for National Grid in the road would be tricky. So there was that, and then there are 2 sewer force mains, and David included a plan showing locations. So just want to put those out. Jose?
Yeah, so yeah, Katie forwarded us that email and Aaron responded where we will be outside of that gravel area that they were concerned about. So what we're looking to do is just come across the street, concrete encased, to a flat structure. Would be ground level, and then just extending the primaries to a transformer in front of the customer's property to then provide service.
A
Okay,
question?
does anyone, you have a question? Okay, Brooke?
I'm sorry, I'm a little late on the packet. Is this new service or are we upgrading service? I'm just curious. It's more of a general question, Jose, about utility demand, and are we needing to upgrade service in a lot of these neighborhoods because of higher demand, or are we adding new service?
So in this particular case, they'll be adding a brand new pad because to provide service to this house.
So it's new service.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I'd like to
I would-
close the.
Oh, wait,
right.
I do see Sam Nicholson on, but I think this might be for him, so. And he doesn't have his hand up.
Okay. All right, so I'll move to the no board comments. I'd like to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
And I'll take Brooke as the motion, Tom is second. All right, all those in favor, Brooke,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Malcolm,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So we are closed. Do I have a motion?
Move approval subject to the recommendations of staff.
All right, I've got a motion, second.
Second.
All right, Brooke,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Malcolm,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Thank you very much. Number 3, 14 Huzzy Street. I'm
So-
opening the public hearing.
Thank you. We have Mike Wolonovich here. I think I'd still butchered it a little. I did want to note there were, and I don't know if these made their ways to Verizon, but the fire department looked at this, noting that if the pole is moved, it could impact the passage of a fire truck or ambulance. Right now, it is nearly across from the yellow striping so that if a piece of fire apparatus can cheat to the yellow line, but if the pole was moved and there was still parking across from it, they would have difficulty passing. And so this is the existing pole, and they're looking to move it back this way. And then there's this tree that also makes it tricky. So just keep that in mind as you're reviewing. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, Verizon received an order from the person, the homeowner, number 14. They're looking to widen their driveway, and therefore the utility pole is in their way and would like it moved over 10 feet to make room for that.
All right. And what were the plan, and Erica, what were the planning comments there? Would you put those up for a sec?
It just talks about how it's an historic home, and obviously any increase in the driveway width will need HTC approval and comply with zoning bylaw. Concerned with the relocation of the pole in front of the historic structure, potentially negatively impacting the historic character of the structure, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how we can take that into account with utility poles locations. They're in front of homes quite regularly. I think the bigger issue is, will this impact public safety getting through in case of an emergency?
Right. Okay, this
Mal?
is all right, Brooke.
So this is a widening of a driveway. I was kind of thinking that if it were just a relocation of the driveway, that we could just shift the yellow line accordingly. But it seems to me that I have concerns about that. It feels like a want to have more than a need to have situation, a little bit. And if it impacts public safety, I have serious concern.
Okay, thank you, Brooke.
Matt, I have
Erica?
a comment. I did receive a call about a week and a half ago about the person who lives here across the street is in poor health, and their daughter asked about converting this first space into an accessible parking space so that he could have easy access in and out of their home. I haven't gotten it yet, but just putting that out there too, that if they extend their driveway and then they extend the yellow line, you're also going to be losing potentially this location for a handicap space, but also another parking space.
Mr. Chair.
All right, Tom?
Yeah, based on Brooke's comments and what Erica's news she just brought to us, maybe it might be appropriate for us to delay until after at least the HDC reviews this. I'm not sure if fire will, my guess is they probably will present similar information, but I'd have serious concerns approving this without a plan to how public safety would be able to navigate down the street
Okay,
appropriately.
all right. This is all right, is there anyone, oh, Malcolm?
Well, I'm not sure we need to delay. I mean, there's a public safety issue here, and I haven't convinced the absolute need to widen the driveway.
Okay. I have a question for Mike. Has there been any discussion of burying these for the whole length of this sidewalk? Was that ever contemplated?
That has not been presented to me on behalf of Verizon or the property owner to, change everything from aerial to underground. Yeah, it's kind of far higher than what I'm able to answer, but it has not been presented to me, no.
Is that a possibility? Is that possible? Can that be accomplished?
I
If
can
they wanted
investigate
to?
that. I mean, I feel like I'm not selling improper here. Anything can be done depending on what people want to pay, so to speak, because keeping things aerial, as you can understand, is, cost factor is much more reasonable than going underground. There you have one thing. I'm sure it's a historic section, as was mentioned, but it's a pavers and brick sidewalks. So I can imagine the cost involved there, trying to put it all back together if a civil dig was done.
Right.
Even if it was for a short distance, and looking at Google Earth Street View, if you were to look at that where the existing pole is, and then look to the next pole down, and look at the widening of the driveway was to happen, pole to poles, in that area is probably approximately 120 feet. So, but I can certainly investigate it and get some real answers for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Brooke?
I mean, just to point out, I see an existing riser on that pole right there. So I suppose it's not exactly unheard of, but I'll investigate for you.
Okay. Brooke's got her hand up?
So I have another question. Is it possible to move it less than 10 feet as a compromise? Just as a thought, I'm just trying to spitball alternatives rather than voting on it. If we what's the word, Erica? Postpone, keep the public hearing
Continuance?
open. Thank you.
Continue.
Just couldn't, if we continue this for a couple of months and give the homeowners some options. I mean, I'm inclined to deny it. So I think what I would like to, I'm inclined to vote against it. So by keeping the public hearing open, we give the homeowners opportunities to consider some alternatives. And also for us to see whether that application for a handicapped spot comes through, so we can weigh them in context together. And I think there's no harm done just continuing this, I would say, for 2 months and see what they come back to in September. And, whether it's a less of a move, not doing it, going underground, whatever the alternatives are. And so that's kind of where my head's at the moment.
Okay, great. So this is a public hearing. I'd like to close the public hearing portion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Brooke,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Malcolm.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
You're closing the public hearing.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
I'm
no.
sorry, I'm
Not-
continuing.
Oh, right,
I'm
sorry.
closing the
The
discussion.
motion was
Whoa,
to
whoa.
close the public hearing,
The
so you
motion
might
is to
want to
continue I'll make it to
take back-
continue the discussion. I'm closing discussion on it, but continue the public hearing to when we do this next time.
September 8th.
Yeah.
So I would make the motion, we continue the public
So-
hearing to September 8th
No,
for more.
our next licensing
information.
and petitions meeting is September 15th.
Oh,
All right, September 15th.
All right. So I'll try it again. So Brooks made a motion, Tom seconded. Brooke,
Aye.
Tom, Malcolm.
Sure, aye.
All right. And I vote aye.
Okay, so that's being continued.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mike, you'll relay that back to the.
Yes.
aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Chair, I would just like to state that the arguments have to be very strong for me to change my opinion.
All right.
I'll just give warning to the homeowner.
Yeah, duly noted, and as you guys know, it's one of my pet peeves, turning yards into parking lots and, and parking cars on sidewalks like the picture here. Those things are, we should be improving things, not making it worse. So anyway, on to number 4, which is 22 Pleasant Street. I'd like to open the public hearing. And
So Mike W is going to be reviewing this again. I will note that DPW has a comment that there is a new pole in this vicinity, which is out beyond the face of the curbing east and west of the old driveway curb cut. And I took some photos, so even though this petition hasn't been heard yet, there's already a new pole in place. And it's not only in place without a petition, it's in the wrong location because the pole was supposed to be this way. And now it's here and it's out by the curb line. And this was what was proposed. This is the existing pole and it was supposed to be over here. And right now it's here.
So Katie Cabral had emailed me, giving me this heads up, like, hey, are you aware a new poll has been set? I'm like, no, obviously I haven't done the petition yet. So I went to investigate it, but unfortunately the Verizon engineer that was assigned to this site that I've been working with for the last how many months for this is on PTO. So I was leaving messages, not realizing until I happened to contact one of the other Verizon engineers and mentioned I'm looking for Kevin. Like, oh, he's on PTO. Tom's handling him. So I called Tom. Friday, he investigated for me. He goes, Mike, he goes, I don't see a relocation here. He goes, this looks like it might be a temporary setup. I'm like, okay, well, there's issues with it. It's, I mentioned it's out in front of the face, and the photos I received weren't this good. They were showing actually looked like the new pole was like out in front of the old one. But see how that actually has a X on it on that pole right there?
That's dig safe.
Yeah, but a lot of times Verizon actually do the cross as well as saying that pole's to be removed. So I have a feeling that's a temporary setup.
Okay, because this, I will note that the you can't see it here, and I was in the middle of traffic, so I couldn't get too close up, but this has been tagged with the same pole number as this one.
Yeah, that's definitely wrong location. So to me, it must be a temporary swap because the one on the left has existing junction boxes and transformers that maybe they need to transfer those over to the temporary pole and then put the new pole that once it gets approved by through this public hearing, put it in the proper spot and then relocate everything. That's the best.
Why wouldn't they have just put the one pole in and then relocate it and do it at one job?
Because for the new pole relocation, you technically need obviously the public hearing to take place and get approval at the public hearing. For a temporary swap out of not a relocation, but a temporary replacement, that's covered under the original GOL agreement. That's the best that Tom and I can, research and find out without having Kevin to really give the proper answer. Everything that we can tell in his system and looking at the history of everything and him, he knew that, yeah, you don't have a public hearing yet scheduled. I'm like, yeah, it's for Monday. He's like, okay, but you don't have an approval yet. I'm like, correct. He goes, okay. He goes, well, the work order shows a temporary. He goes, but I can't really speak on somebody else's work. And I understand that. So, so I would like to present this as the pole you're seeing there is definitely not the relocation pole. It's got to be a temporary. Because I mean, everything about that is wrong. Obviously, it doesn't take a well-educated person in utilities to know that is not in line with the other poles going down the street. That is too far forward. So we believe they put it in a temporary spot, maybe not the best temporary spot, but we need approval in the proper spot, the relocation spot, 10 feet to the left.
All right, so we are considering this for everyone to know, we are considering this in the proper spot is what we're talking about. Brooke?
So I have a couple questions. What is the parking situation in this location? I mean, we have another, it appears to be, are they widening the driveway or are they shifting it?
So, Brooke, if I can, this property has been subdivided. This used to be a single family lot with a little garage here. This was their driveway to pull in. It was sold. The new owner did a subdivision, 4181L subdivision, and built this new dwelling. So I don't have HTC plans or anything like that. I'm assuming this pole is being relocated because they plan on relocating a driveway. but I don't know.
Yeah, actually, it was requested by, who was it requested by? They requested I submit a revised survey. Do you have that
Mm-mm.
that you could pull up? Because I had to show the existing, okay, can I email it to you right now and you can open up for the hearing?
Sure.
Unless there's a way I can share it, you tell me. Let's see here.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
until I know what's going on with these driveways, I am not willing to move this forward at all.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would also add, I'm right around the corner for the summer right now, and I drive past this multiple times a day. This is one of the worst bottlenecks on the entire island at the moment because of construction and because of trucks and all that. And I'm not pointing out blame to anybody or any party. It's really, really heavy in there. So I think anything that we'd want to change, we'd want to think about long term. Some serious thought on long-term traffic ramifications.
Okay. Do we want to look at the picture regardless? What is that? You have that, Erica?
I'm copying and pasting it right over.
Okay.
You have my email, Mike?
I believe I do. Give me one moment here.
It's eMooney@nantucket-ma.gov.
Mooney at
Brooke.
Nantucket-ma.gov.
Brooke, do you have a question or a
Yeah,
suggestion?
I just want to make a general statement for the record that property owners should be coming to these hearings so they can clarify things for us. I don't think it's Verizon's responsibility to explain the intentions of a property owner to us. Their role here is very prescribed. And I just want to say that I am less and less willing to approve these as property owners let the responsibility for explaining to us why they need things or want things and which is which. And they absolve that responsibility to the utility company. So, Erica, I don't know how we can communicate that in the petitioning process, or Mike, for you guys to advise petitioners that they really should show up and answer our questions regarding the properties. These are not going to be rubber stamps from me anymore.
I understand.
Yeah, and I'm not putting that on you at all.
Oh, no,
I'm
I
just saying if
totally
this is for the
understand.
public record. Yeah.
Yep. So it was, I was requested to give a better drawing to
Sorry,
submit.
I'm just pointing out the reason work is being proposed for the property owner to move the existing driveway. So,
Okay. But without seeing
so this was the
the
existing
details of that.
driveway with the garage.
Yeah. And
But now
I mean,
there's a house here, so I'm sure they have to put it in this open space here.
yeah, and this may improve the flow on Pleasant Street. It may, I don't know. But
Yeah.
without knowing, without having the information, we can't possibly make a decision.
All right. Mr. Chair, I agree with what Tom just said. Yes. Now I understand where it is. This is a horrible, this is one of the worst bottlenecks on the island. And the whole street plan needs to be addressed, not just this one little area.
Right. Okay. So this is a public hearing. There's nobody from the public that I can see that's speaking for this, correct? One way or the other. All right,
So,
can-
Ma-
You
Yeah,
can
Brooke?
continue like you did with the other one to get,
I think
Yeah.
we should. Yeah, Brooke?
so I'm not sure what to message here, right? Um, for both of these, actually, this sort of applies to both of them. If we get incomplete applications that don't have all the information we need, this one is more incomplete than the last one. I'm inclined to deny it and make them start the process over again, as opposed to the other one where there were some elements of this that the property owners couldn't be aware of, like the neighbors across the street potentially petitioning for a handicap spot. And so I'd love to get some input from my fellow board members on what is the message we want to send here to applicants. I think I want to get a little tougher, honestly, and I think a denial sends that message. On the other hand, I don't want to be unfair because I know the process it takes a while to restart. So would love to get some thoughts from my fellow board members on whether we continue this or close the public hearing and take a vote.
Malcolm?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Brooke. I mean, the whole process needs to be redone. I don't think it's fair that we deny this and we didn't the other one, even though they are a little different. This sort of reminds me of a recent issue at the Board of Health where we sort of took a deep breath, but the applications that were still before us had to go forward. And I would do the same thing here. I would delay this to September.
Tom, do you have a feeling on this?
Yeah, I agree with Malcolm. I think that's a proper analysis of the issue we stand here. But I also very much agree with Brooke. And I don't think it's no one's fault, or the process is that we are separate boards than the HDC at all. But we're being asked to, on the other side of what somebody is asking to, they subdivided their property. They need another driveway for another dwelling. But we also have to keep in mind, and again, we're not the HDC, but we're trying to keep the historic character. We're trying to keep traffic flow, and emergency vehicle, public safety, and it looking according to Nantucket, and all the things that may not exactly be in our purview like the HDC, but it is all kind of part and parcel of these kind of balances we have to. This isn't just land in the middle of nowhere where somebody's asking to add some random driveway. That these streets have been there for a long time. So I agree with postponing, with continuing until September, until we have more information, and then taking a serious thought about the process on how we move forward on these, because that they are all unique situations. And I think that just being a rubber stamp, as Brooke said, for some of these, and especially without the homeowner or the petitioner there to describe the situation in depth, it just leaves us at a loss.
Right. Okay.
So on that note, if I may, move to continue the public hearing till September.
All right. I'll take that as a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
and
All
that
right.
will be September 15th.
15th, right? We have date certain, right?
All right. All those in favor, Brooke,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Malcolm,
All right.
and I vote aye as well. And so that's it. My comment, we have, it's the whole parking yard thing. We're turning every yard into a parking lot, and we are turning all the sidewalks into parking lots. And I think that, we need HDC to weigh on this, and we really should start thinking about how do we change our parking rules downtown so that some of this opens up and people can park on street again. And there's a lot that we have to do. We're not going to solve it for this sort of issue, but I'm glad to see other people are kind of sharing my concern. I've made sort of protest votes against a lot of the parking lot yard conversions for that specific purpose. It is hurting the historic fabric of the island every time we do it. So anyway, Erica?
Um, so at some point, we're gonna have a discussion about, I mean, Brooke, you mentioned incomplete petition, but I think as far as the utilities go, what they submit is complete. So, we need to have kind of an internal discussion or a separate discussion, about, and we might need to consult with town council too, because utilities are governed by the DPU and how much we can require. So we'll look into that on our end as well.
Yeah. And for me, it's maybe not even a requirement, but maybe it's not officially incomplete. But if we have questions that we don't have answers to, and details like, are you moving your driveway or are you widening your driveway, are not available to us at the time, it's going to incline me to say no because it doesn't feel necessary, or it feels like it has negative impact that I don't want to vote for. So I think it's really about advising homeowners who are putting in these petitions to take a more active role in the process, or explain to them why an active role is in their best interest.
Yeah. It's
And,
reminding
you
me
know,
of that Easton Street petition that was continued
exactly.
for months and months.
And
So I think
HDC
as they go forward, we'll have whoever's going to be handling these petitions, staff wise, when we receive them from the utility companies, we'll have to convey to the engineers that the select board is requesting or requiring that the petitioners also attend these meetings and not leave it into the hands of the utility companies.
Yeah,
And
that'd be great.
in my take, HDC has jurisdiction on driveways and the look of this, et cetera. They have broad jurisdiction. They should be going to them before they come to us. They shouldn't be picking the parent who's gonna say yes first and then going to the other one and saying, I already got approval. They should be going to HDC and getting it approved and then coming to us. So there's items like that I think could be improved. Brooke?
Well, I mean, I think that's true. I don't know how much and that's a town council question. Once someone's made an application, it's a public utility application. It's separate, right? But we could certainly make our decisions contingent on HDC approval, I would imagine, right? So, nothing goes forward until they have that. It's only good if the HDC agrees with it. So the HDC isn't getting pressured. Well, we got our permission from the select board. You have to approve it now, right? I don't want them to feel pressured by us either. So I think it's a way we work well together, and hopefully, Mike, this makes your job easier, not harder in some ways. So I'm, that's my intention here, because I do think that we've seen number of property owners who've been absent in the process when we've had really questions that you guys couldn't answer. So thanks for that.
Thank you. I mean, totally everything makes sense. I've done other towns where same concerns about widening driveways, moving driveways, and of course, we're just the utility company who was asked to move a pole, and I've gotten them approved. Hey, by the way, your pole is approved to be moved, but the property owner has not appeared to the town yet to get a curb cut into our sidewalk. So can't guarantee that will be approved when they go to apply for it, but the utility is approved. And and I understand fully. So I'm going to relay it to Kevin when he gets back. I believe he oversees all of Nantucket, and explain to him that going forward, if it's anything to do with a driveway, widening, moving, relocation, or anything, I'm going to highly recommend the homeowner investigate with the town first before they do the application, because we can go to a hearing. It doesn't mean it's going to get approved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a threat. It's just a recommendation. Go the other way instead. Other towns dealing with it's similar to solar farms. Solar farms go through utilities companies first to get the infrastructure built or upgraded, and then they apply to towns saying we want to put a solar farm in, and the infrastructure is already there, so we're going to slide right in. And now the town's like, no, let's stop doing that. Let's go see the town first before you go the back door.
Totally.
That'd be helpful. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, everyone.
All right. So I don't need any other motions. We just a motion to
Other
adjourn.
Yep.
to adjourn, and I'll make that one.
Second?
Second.
All right, Brooke,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Malcolm.
Aye.
I vote aye. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you all so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
Thank
See you
for your
tomorrow.
time, everyone. Take care. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Bye.